Well, I'm very curious about your time in China. Can you talk about it?
Absolutely. China was a terrific experience for me. I think it's probably the single best professional experience I've had. Personal experience was really good as well, not without its challenges, living 7,000 miles away from home for 2 years with my two kids and my wife, which was really interesting for everybody. I mean, everyone has their own stories within our family. But it really gave me an appreciation for a bunch of things, starting with just kind of parachuting in there and into a business that wasn't really healthy and that didn't have much of a strategy, and really working with the local team. I had about 35 people on my direct team who were supporting our existing legacy products, and they just wanted a vision. They needed a vision. They wanted to know where to go, and it was really quite rewarding to work with them, to work with our clients, and then also work with the government to kind of put together what I call the China Media 2.0 strategy, which was Nielsen had been in China for many years, but they needed a stronger vision about where they were going. And so I worked with the team to bubble up what should that vision be. And then we went and took that to the other stakeholders, the government, and to clients to say, does this make sense? And it was actually one of the themes was we need to be more in cross-platform. So we did that. We had a cross-platform report in the US, and the second country that Nielsen did one in was China. And the other piece was, let's think about doing TV measurement in a different way. And so that was a great laboratory about, hey, how can we approach it in a different way, not just go back with another panel service. Can we come up with something with set-top box data? Can we develop some low-cost meters? And thinking about that, that's what we're all grappling with even here in the United States and other developed markets. And it was great because I met some great Chinese technology companies. We ended up partnering with two companies in China. One was a cable company called Huaxu, and the other was a university in Beijing, the big media university that trains a lot of the people that work in the media business in China. And my partners were just terrific. They knew the local market so well. I brought the international perspective and a lot of the technology that Nielsen had to the partnership. And working with them, we ended up putting a joint venture together in under 9 months, which is hard to do in America. And we got into the market within a year and a half with our first product, and talking with the cable companies. We signed up many cable companies to provide data to the JV. And so really got it going, and in terms of moving in the right direction. And also gratifying for me is the leadership of that company wasn't foreign. I was the one foreign person. Everyone else was local. And in China, that's so critical to have local leadership. And so the chairman, I was the vice chairman of the company. The chairman was from Huaxu. He was the local Chinese person. And then the other folks as well, and most of the leadership roles were the salespeople, the operations people. And so I knew that whenever I did move on, that they would be in good hands because they were the ones who were executing what that new vision was. So I felt a real tremendous sense of satisfaction with getting that company formed and getting it launched. And then Nielsen's been carrying it forward from there. But the personal lessons as well that I learned from living in China and it being such a foreign place were just amazing to me. And I often joke that the lessons I learned in Dothan, Alabama, where I called on the TV stations all around Mississippi and Alabama for the first 2 years of my career, I use those in China every day in terms of how you approach people, in terms of how you listen, how you communicate with people, and how you collaborate. And I think that really worked in China because I didn't come in saying, hey, this is what I think we should do, or this is what we do in America, or all those other things which I saw happen all the time with American and other foreign companies coming into China with their Western perspective. And I really said, look, we've got some ideas, you've got some ideas, how do we collaborate and do something together? And that was really rewarding. And I still stay in touch with the people that were on my teams and my partners. I still stay in touch. Sometimes they come to America and I'll see them. I've been to China once since I left my full-time position there, and really enjoy that. And I know every time I go back that it'll look completely different, because one of the things I loved about being in China was the rate of change so fast that it makes America look like you're kind of not sitting still, but it's a lot slower than in China, where every day and every week you don't know what's going to happen. And that feeling of that dynamic feeling was part of why I chose to come to an ad agency, because that's kind of like what it's like to work in an ad agency. Every week you're working with different clients, different challenges, you're solving some fire drill, and we have a lot of clients here at OMG, so there's a lot of fire drills, and I love that because it's a kind of place where your hair's on fire, And if you enjoy that and you relish that, then it works well. There's people who aren't cut out for that, and when I'm interviewing, I always ask people the types of environments they think they would be successful in, and I point out, well, this isn't a typical kind of corporate environment. This is a very dynamic environment, and we solve a lot of problems here, and we do a lot of good work, but it's not a very corporate kind of place. And that helps people, I think, when they're thinking about coming to work here, and it helped me when I was looking at the environment here as well.
What was the product you brought out in China? Was it a panel hybrid? Can you talk about it?
Yeah. It's funny, when we first started, we were starting with the idea of just doing return path data, just from the set-top boxes, and we knew China was undergoing something called NGB, which is Next Generation Broadband, where they were digitizing all their cable networks, and they were, again, advancing very quickly in terms of the channels offered and the services in terms of video on demand and broadband and things like that. And so that was we were kind of drafting off that big national process that they were doing. But as we started to talk to the cable companies and understand where we get cooperation and how much data we bring in, we also said, hold on, we still need demography, and we still need some other pieces of information. Why don't we look at creating a low-cost panel as well? And that's why I think the beauty of Nielsen CC data is that it wasn't just set-top box. We developed a low-cost meter that I knew at Nielsen we had been working on for many, many years, and in China the iterations of how quickly we could develop that were much faster. And so we came out with a low-cost meter to get the demography in other pieces, or to supplement in certain parts of a city or a region where maybe we didn't have a lot of cooperation. We could supplement the set-top box data with the panel-based information. So I really think that that's a template for what other research companies can do globally in terms of measuring. Because I don't think the future is just panel, and I don't think the future is just return path. It's some combination. And Nielsen CC data was sort of like a petri dish to experiment with that.